Meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll. Excuse me.
Good morning, Member Benson.
Here.
Member Sullivan.
Here.
Member Geller. Member Lutz. Member White. Member Donnelly.
Here.
Member Lester. Member Jones.
Here.
Member Triplett.
Here.
Chair Yarber.
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you. I'd like to ask Ms. Sullivan to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning. Great, thank you for that. Clerk, would you please read the Metro Cable 14 opening statement and the meeting announcement?
Yes, Chair. This meeting of the Sacramento County Community Corrections Partnership is being cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T Uverse. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting will replay on Saturday, October 8th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. The partnership fosters public engagement during the meeting and encourages public participation, civility, and use of courteous language. To make a comment in person, please fill out a speaker request form and hand it to the clerk's staff. The chairperson will open public comments for each agenda item or call for off-agenda matters. When the chairperson calls your name, go to the podium and make your comment. To make a public comment by phone, dial 916-875-2500 and follow the prompts to be placed in queue for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matter. Clerk staff will transfer each caller into the meeting. You may be on hold for up to an extended period of time, and your patience is appreciated. You may send written comments by email to boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Your comment will be routed to the members and filed in the record. Thank you in advance for your courtesy and understanding of the meeting procedures. This concludes your announcement.
Thank you so much, Clerk. I have no opening statements, but we'll maybe ask if there are any from the other members of the partnership. Let the record also reflect Chief Lester has joined us. Good morning. If there are any other comments? Oh, sorry. And Member Geller's here as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the assist there, Member Benson. Let's move to item 1. Clerk, would you mind reading item 1 into the record for us?
Yes. Item 1 is vote to approve recommended Community Corrections Partnership, CCP, AB 1092023, update for submission to the Board of Supervisors.
Excellent. And I believe our trustee analyst, Laura Foster, will be help leading us through these next couple items.
Good morning to the
Morning.
partnership. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I am proud to bring you the AB 109 Plan 2023 update for hopefully your consideration for approval today. As you know, the CCPAB and my work with them is the primary work that we do is to come back to you and bring recommendations for annual updates to the AB 109 plan. So in doing so, we've been working on this since about this time last year to try to make progress every single year and to refine this plan to continue to be something that can help guide our decision makers and our budget staff and our board of supervisors at the end of the day and their decisions that they make into how we can address 2011 realignment. So to bring you up to speed to where we are today, so we last saw you in August and we brought a preliminary draft of the plan. After that, the plan was posted online for public comment. The CCPAB met twice and we had a special meeting that was sort of a community workshop where we provided an overview of the plan and allowed another opportunity for public comment. Through that process, we did end up receiving 4 written comments, which are included in your agenda packets today. Those were from On Track Program Resources, Community Health and Justice Project, the League of Women Voters of Sacramento County, Family Advocates for Individuals with Serious Mental Illness, and community members Nancy and Wade Brynelson. We are very appreciative for the members of the public who did join us for our special meeting. I would say it was sparsely attended, but at least we're getting the word out there. We did have some really thoughtful responses that were really helpful to the CCPAB when they went to make their plan to recommend this for approval. What we did, I'm going to go briefly over just a few of the changes that were made to the plan. I know you probably don't have a copy of the plan in front of you. For part of it, I will put something on the screen, but mostly I'm just going to kind of go through the motions here. Please, if you have any questions, please speak up. I will happily address any questions you have or concerns you have. We are hoping to get this plan approved today. So one of the things we did was we did address the CCP's comment to include the note about participants who participated in our justice involved surveys, that nothing, some of them mentioned that nothing would have prevented their justice involvement, so that's been added. We did add that community feedback section, which highlights some of the public comments that were received in writing and the extent to which they were incorporated. We felt that most of the comments we received were already somewhat addressed in the plan and perhaps in future years can be explored in further detail, but some of the things that were brought up will require some additional discussion before including in the plan. One of the big changes is that we went from 2 eligible expense categories to 3, and so I am going to show my screen here to go over that list. See if I can get it going. Thanks for your patience with me. There we go. All right, so what you should see on your screen is the title page or the table of contents from the AB 109 plan. And so this shows the 3 categories, A, B, and C, and their subcategories of the programs and services that are eligible under this plan. There have been a few changes since we last saw you in August. The first, obviously, is adding that 3rd category. We moved what was previously called B11. That was the additional eligible programs that the CCP can make determinations on. We've created it as its own category and felt that was better suited to Category C. The CCPAB also prioritized those that are in Category B. So there are only 8 categories now. There were 10 before. 2 of them were consolidated. That's mental health diversion and collaborative courts. And we recognize that there are different impacts to the individuals who are going through those programs. However, procedurally, from the departments who are involved, largely they are similar functions and the reporting processes would look very similar. So that's why they were rolled into one. Plus, when they were prioritized, they were right next to each other, and it made it easy to do. Last, we removed the crime lab staffing as an eligible expense, and I want to thank the District Attorney's Office for recognizing there was an opportunity to put their funds towards collaborative courts and the great work they're doing with that program. And so their budget staff worked with us and figured out that was a better way to use this funding source, and so that was eliminated as an option. So it won't affect the District Attorney's funding allocation, but it does put things in the priority order that they're focused on for this group. And again, at this time, anything that is considered eligible can be funded through the plan. There is nothing that is being funded now in this current year, given the change with the district attorney and how they're going to be pursuing their funding that that isn't eligible under this plan. The other major change was the addition, I'll stop sharing my screen, was the addition of Appendix D, which outlines some of the metrics that are associated with what we would call kind of outcome measures. Some of them are not true outcome measures, but they're steps in that direction. We drew on the metrics that were in the 2022 plan, made a few tweaks, removed a few things, added a few things, and so that'll be what departments will use when they're completing their annual evaluations, and they'll go through those metrics and provide what they can and explanations thereof so that we can try to get some information to move forward. I think that the Sheriff's Office and Probation Department, really just want to thank them. They did really thoughtful edits to the sections about their programs that they work with and helped us provide some clarifying language. And then at the end, we added the budget allocation table because, of course, that was not available until the September meeting in which the budget was approved for the year. So I think those are the big changes that were made to the plan. Largely, nothing wild or completely radical or new or different, but just affirming the direction we were going in and tightening it up a little bit and really paving the pathway for future success with this plan. I did want to provide Melinda Avey, our CCPAB chair, an opportunity to come up, if that's okay, to provide any comments on the plan process, and just very thankful for her leadership with that group that helped lead us to where we are today.
Of course. I see Chair Avey in the audience. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Melinda Avey. I'm the chair of the CCPAB this year. I have to tell you, it's been a fabulous year. Very much different than the previous 2 years that we had. I think we really got to work this year on trying to simplify the plan. It was huge before. And so now I think we've trimmed it down to something that we can actually look at and really digest. I want to thank Laura. She's done a fabulous job, of course, summarizing everything. She, I don't know what we'd do without her, so thank you very much. And I think that's about all that I have to say, except thank you very much for all of your support this year. We appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you.
And then before we do ask you to take a vote and hopefully approve this plan today, and as a reminder, it does need to go to the BSCC by December 15th, and it will go to the Board of Supervisors on November 7th, so today is really important. And again, I thank you for considering this plan today. I did want to provide the CCPAB with an opportunity, or sorry, the CCP to provide an opportunity to weigh in on the future planning priorities in the plan. I will go ahead and show those on my screen. Because the CCPAB is about to start its next year process, where we start looking at how we can really do some work on this plan. And if we have some direction from the CCP up front, that can help really drive which of those planning priorities should be the priority of priorities. Let me find that, and then I'll share it on my screen. There we go. Okay. So some of the priorities that are here is to develop a definition of community safety, developing SMART objectives for each overarching plan goal, developing a standard program evaluation for AB 109 funded programs and services. I will say that is a definite high priority because it needs to be done before next July, when some of these programs that are funded under this plan actually have to start producing some data and some accountability measures. Increasing transparency of funding, evaluating the feasibility of devoting certain portions of funding to proposals from community-based organizations, the feasibility of identifying funding limits or service limits for each eligible program, looking into restorative justice programs, and elevating the voices of crime survivors and family members, developing an understanding of racial disparities, looking at the impact of housing status, and integrating and building upon information from the jail population reduction plans. So I welcome the CCP's input on any of those that stick out that we should highlight and move forward with.
Great. Let me open it up, see if there are any comments or reflections from other members of the partnership. I don't see any hands yet, but I will also acknowledge the hard work, really, of the CCPAB, led by Chair Avey, and obviously your work, Laura. It just strikes me the effort to synthesize, the existing long-term plan, along with more recent public comments, obviously the readability, which I think was touched upon, and again, the addition of more sort of, outcome-focused efforts, I think is definitely worthy of praise. So thank you for that. I see Member Triplett has asked to speak.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Ms. Foster, I was happy to see the fourth bullet point up here, which speaks in part to trying to collect data to monitor recidivism and returns to custody. I think that's really important going forward. I mean, we want to see what's working, what's not working, and that's, I think, a very good standard that we should be monitoring. So anything the DA's office can do to assist your office in getting that data, we're happy to do in the upcoming year. So we appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
And related to data and outcomes, I had a question as well. Did the advisory board contemplate at all any necessary expense, if you will, around that evaluation task specifically, or is the effort really to just begin with the data that we know we have kind of in our hip pockets at the moment?
Yeah, there was no additional discussion around other needs at this time. I am the analyst staff for this program, so as soon as I can start getting some data in my hands, I can start giving some things back to you and hopefully working with our team here to develop some insights that we can use to move forward. But no software, no additional things that are in place at this time.
Great, thank you for that. Any other comments? Member Walker.
Yeah, I want to kind of commend you on developing understandings of racial disparity, and if any data that you would need as it relates to workforce development and the employment level of individuals as it relates to race, also as it relates to ex-offender status, just feel free to call on me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent. Any others? Seeing none, clerk, I might ask, are there any public comments relative to the item?
Chair, I do not have any speaker slips at this time, and there are no public comments in the queue.
Great. So let's open and close the public comment, and I may ask for a motion to approve staff's recommendation for the annual plan that's before us.
Motion to approve.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Excellent. Clerk, can you call for a voice vote?
Yes, I'll enter the vote.
Sorry. Electronic, excuse me. I forget the fanciness of our chambers.
The motion passes. You have a unanimous vote.
Excellent. Thank you. With that in mind, I think we can move on to item 2. Clerk, would you please read it into the record for us?
Sure. The item 2 is consider applicants for the Community Corrections Partnership Advisory Board and vote to select community members participants.
Great. And Ms. Foster, I think you're prepared to give us the overview here as well.
Thank you again. One of the exciting things that the CCP-AB has done is they recently, I guess, updating your bylaws exciting isn't necessarily what most people would think of, but I think it's a really great way to introduce some new mechanisms to keep the CCP-AB fresh and able to communicate clear expectation to board members and to the public about what they should see when they look at our meetings. So one of the things that happened this year was when the CCP-AB was established, there were community members appointed, but there wasn't really a process by which term limits were introduced, or so theoretically the 4 community members could have sat on the CCP-AB forever. But one of the public comments that we received pretty frequently was, "Hey, I want to get involved. When's an opportunity for me to be considered?" And recognizing that this board needs to be able to be somewhat dynamic so that we can adjust every year with our updating plans. We wanted to introduce term limits. So the way that the bylaws introduced them was it established every other year. So there'll be 2-year terms for members, and so 2 will come off each year, and 2 will come on in even years and odd years. Sorry, I'm not expressing that very clearly, but hopefully you understand. And so we have, at this time, 3 of our seats were filled. 2 of those members decided not to continue. That's Bill Piper and Muriel Strand. They have been excellent assets to the CCP-AB and are very proud of the work they've accomplished. They are moving on to new projects and are leaving the CCP feeling that they've accomplished a great deal. Under the CCP-AB bylaws, any member who is a current member can reapply for a seat. There's no prohibitions on that if the CCP would like to select them again, but they've chosen not to go for those seats again. So now we have 3 vacancies at this time that we are hoping to fill. And for the bylaws, we followed the process where we publicly advertised an application, and the application only asked for contact information and, "Hey, if you're selected, can you come to our meetings on Mondays once a month?" So those were the 2 big questions on the application, making it very easy for hopefully as many people as possible to submit their information. We were very fortunate to receive 12 applicants, which is huge for this board. So we're very pleased and thankful to some of the community organizations that are out there, particularly On Track Program Resources really helped promote this opportunity, and we had numerous applications who were associated with their organization. What we did after that was we did a short interview with each applicant over Zoom. We asked the same questions. And then we, in addition to what we received in the interview and what else a member might have, or a applicant might have sent over, we did draw on other experiences, familiarity with candidates, how we've seen them on other boards and commissions. That was all part of what went into the recommendation you see here today, which was developed in conjunction with our CCBAB Chair, Melinda Avey. And so we are recommending 3 candidates for you today. One is Rodney Davis, who also goes by Abdul, Tamara Lacey, and Bradley Washburn. All 3 have lived experience with the justice system in some way, either through their own personal experience or through friends and family members. And so we feel very confident that this will bring a different voice that's not been as loud on the CCPAB before, and that all of these 3 members will add something new to this board. Some of them weren't as familiar with AB 109 or CCPAB, and we felt that that was okay, that it's better to have someone who can bring a well-rounded perspective, who can learn quickly, who wants to be involved and wants to be here. And while it was a very, very difficult decision to arrive at this recommendation, those are the names we're bringing forward for you today for consideration, and we hope that you will approve them and appoint them to the CCPAB.
Great, thank you. I will ask if there's any discussion or comments from other members of the partnership. I don't see any hands, but I will also comment here yet again the amount of work I think that goes into both the special meeting that you touched upon, as well as the recruitment and interview process. Again, worthy of praise, and appreciate the recommendation that's before us. If there are no comments, Clerk, let me ask if there are any public comments on the phone. I don't see anyone else in chamber since we last asked.
Mr. Chair, we do not have any public comments at this time.
Great. So let's close the public comment. I might seek a motion for approval of staff's recommendation from one of the members.
I will move to approve those.
Excellent. We have a first, Ms. Benson. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second, Ms. Sullivan. Thank you. Clerk, the electronic voting process, please.
You may vote. Your vote is unanimous, and the motion passes with a unanimous vote.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, let's continue moving. Let's read item 3 into the record in regards to public comment for off-agenda topics.
Item 3 is public comment on non-agenda items.
And assume still there are no commenters online.
Mr. Chair, we have no public comments on item 3.
Excellent. Recognize there are none in chambers as well. If there are no further comments, I believe we might adjourn for today. Thank you all.
Thank you.